think this webinar is being sent to a third party, just click got it. All right. Think this webinar is being sent to a third party. All right. Okay. So just before we start our session today, I just want to quickly let you guys know that the workshop tonight is brought to you by International Medical University. Okay. If you do not know who is IMU, International Medical University, they have been around since 1992. It's a premier private health science university. If in the future, after your SPM, you're looking to become a dentist, a doctor, a pharmacist, chiropractor, a nutritionist, IMU is definitely one of the options that you might want to look at because of their long history in teaching health sciences. And there are a lot of doctors out there, a lot of dentists out there today are trained by IMU. So before we start our session today, I'm just quickly going to be sharing with you a video about IMU. All right. Yeah, what you saw just now is just a brief introduction about IMU. Thank you so much, International Medical University, for sponsoring tonight's session. Okay, guys, It's already 8:05. Let's not waste any more time and let's kickstart because we have a lot of things to cover today. Our trainer, our speaker for today, is a very special one. Why? Because I just found out that Cikgu is actually the author of the KVSM biology textbook, and also author for Success Biology reference book. I have used both of her books before back in 2006 when I was doing Form 5. Even until now today, she is still the author of these books. And guys, it is an honor to have Cikgu with us here today. She have a lot of things to cover for you guys. Cikgu, go ahead, take it away.
Right. Thank you, Brian. Hi, everyone. Glad to see all of you here today. I'm Cikgu Gan, so I'll be with you throughout the 2-hour session today. So I will share the screen now. Okay, give me a 1 second.
All right.
Okay, hold on. Okay, if you all have any question, you can put in the chat and I will respond to your question. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, today we are going to do I'm not going to teach in detail. I'm sure all of you already know the content. What you are looking for is actually what is the tips, right? The tips, right? You're looking for tips and you are also looking of the do and don'ts about technique menjawab. So I'll be focusing on technique menjawab and areas which I think is very important for you all to cover. All right. So let's begin because I got so much to share with you all. Okay, before I begin going through all the questions, these are some important points that I think most of you need to know. So I think I will be fully using English, yeah, Brian? Or do I mix with?
You can use English. Maybe you can mix a bit of PM also because of DLP. Yeah.
Okay.
We are unsure if everyone here uses English. Maybe students over there, can you let us know if you prefer in English or PM or both? Thank you.
Okay. So if you're okay, English, yeah, I see some of you are both. Okay, I'll try to use both languages. Now, okay, these are some important points I want you all to be aware of. Answer must be in complete sentence. Always student ask me, teacher can do point form. Point form also must be complete. The sentence must be complete and not hanging. Okay. Second thing is write one fact in one sentence. Do not put too many things in one sentence. For example, don't add like and. Your and may actually cancel out the right that you have wrote before that. So the second answer may not be correct. So please do not write too many facts in one sentence. Okay, so be short and precise. Look at the marks. The marks mean if it's 2 mark means 2 point. Refer to diagram. Yes, that is the most important. The first hint to your answer is always the diagram. So refer the diagram to get marks for explaining. Don't give incomplete sentence. Okay, don't combine one wrong fact with one correct because it's WCR, wrong cancel right. Don't use words in question. Explain. When it's explain, it means state the fact and explain, not just stating. Okay, so and then the other thing you must remember is every time you answer something, you must ask yourself why so that you can lead you to answer the next part of the answer. Yeah. Okay, so comparison in question can be done in table. Do not answer negative question with a positive answer, right? So common mistake. These are the some common mistake, right? That is normally done by student in the SPM long term like diffusers, hypertonic soy cannot be soy, must be soy water. These are just some enzyme hydrolyze, gland secrete hormone. This one wrong spelling here. Hormone stimulate on convert and blood transport. Okay. All right. Next, we're gonna zoom in. You know, right? There are 28 chapters in both Form 4 and Form 5 combined. That's just too many chapters for me to cover tonight. So I'm just going to pick a few chapters which I think is pretty important, and then tell you all how the question may be worded or may be presented. Okay, so let's look at chapter 2, Form 4. Now, chapter 2, Form 4 is a basic chapter, right? That link to many questions. From chapter 2, you can actually link to all the chapters, especially human. Okay, so let's look at this question. Now, like I said, we are focusing on technique and also on how to answer the question and what kind of question that might likely come out. Okay, so I'm not focusing on the facts as in explaining the result or the answer. Yeah. Okay, so maybe there will be a question like this. Now, this is chapter 2. There are 3 types of tissue here. They are all muscle tissue, but they are found in different places in the different chapters. Okay, so like name tissue L, and then they ask what's the role of an organelle that is found in abundance in tissue L. So tissue L is a skeletal muscle. At this stage in Form 5, you must be able to tell the difference between the 3 tissues. Yeah? So L is skeletal, M is cardiac muscle, and then N is the smooth tissues, yeah, smooth muscle tissue. So here, they ask for the role played by the organelle found in abundance, right? So in abundance here, you see the word more here. Now, why? Most of the time you need to have the word more because every cell got mitochondria, but it's exceptional for this kind of tissue. They have more mitochondria to produce more energy, right? So more is needed here. Can you see it's bold? Now, that is only the first part of the answer. This is stating the fact. This is the explanation. Remember just now earlier I said every question when it says explain, you must give the explanation. So that means if it's more mitochondria produce more energy. Okay, so right now they prefer, instead of energy, they actually prefer more ATP. That's the latest, yeah. And then that will cause, this is what is this? Membolehkan pengecutan otot, pengecutan and pengendoran. So enable movement, right? So that is the answer. Okay, next, how does exercising able to change the rate of activity in tissue M? Okay, so here, look at the question. What you do is, look at the second part of the question first, that is to change the rate of activity. So talk about the rate first. The rate is what? Okay, so exercising increases the rate. So I'm answering the first part of the question, which is found in the second part of the question. Then only I explain how does it increase the change in the rate of activity. So the exercising increases the rate of contraction of muscle. Okay, and the heart rate will increase to pump more oxygenated blood, or you can also say more glucose and oxygen to the muscle cell, right? So exercising help to transport or for the heart to pump more oxygenated blood. Okay. Can you use the term in BM? You mean you want me to be bilingual, is it? Okay, I will try, all right? If I do bilingual, it takes a longer time. Okay, so let's look at the next question. One similarity and one difference between tissue M and N. Okay, so you see, if you look back at this question, right? This question, this tissue L is found in chapter 14. This is in chapter 10. This is in chapter 10 also got, 9 also got. So that means chapter 2 can be linked to so many other chapters. So it can be just a muscle tissue and then linked to other chapters. So for example, the next question here says that differences, and then we'll see how the different tissue function in different function. Okay, they function in different role, right? So both are muscle tissue, both can contract and relax to produce movement. Okay, so here the differences is, you see this is in chapter 10. This is in chapter 10 also got, 9 also got. Okay, so the difference between these two muscle are cardiac muscle is found on the wall of heart. This one is found on the blood vessel. This one cause heartbeat. This one cause peristalsis. So the rate of contraction and relaxation may be high on or low as heart beat increase and decreases. And rate of contraction here is normally slower. Okay. Okay. Next, you see now
Sorry,
the
Cikgu Gan.
question. Sorry.
Cikgu Gan, we have some students request for the terms to be in BM2. Is it okay?
Oh, okay. So some of the term are already translated here, so I think they can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, like otot cardium, otot licin, pengecutan, pengendoran, right? Okay, as I move along, I will try to tell the both bilingual. Okay, now look at this tissue here. This tissue here is smooth tissue. Villus is where? It's found in your small intestine, right? Okay, so now you can link muscle, smooth muscle in chapter 9, right? So they explain how terangkan bagaimana tissue and help small intestine to carry out its function. Okay, so same thing. I'm just trying to show you that regardless wherever, muscle always contract and relax, always mengecut dan mengendur. But the function they produce in different organ may be different. Like for example, in villus or in the intestine, it causes peristalsis, right? For if it's a skeletal muscle, it produces movement, menghasilkan pergerakan. So it's different function in different place, right? Okay. Menghasilkan lebih, menyebabkan peristalsis means what? That means you have more hydrolysis, more digestion, more pencernaan. Therefore, more nutrient is absorbed, right? So that is the back to the question. Terangkan bagaimana the tissue and helps it to carry out its function. So you are explaining from P3 onwards how it helps with digestion. Okay. All right. So next, is everybody okay? Both muscle M and N cause involuntary action. Can. Okay, can. You mean for similarities here, is it? Yes, can. Actually, here, M and N here, you can also similarities, they are involuntary. Yes, can. This is voluntary. Okay. I hope I not miss any question. Let's move on, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going on to next chapter. Okay, I have many chapters to cover, so I have to go a bit fast. This is chapter 5 from 4. Now, chapter 5 from 4 is about enzyme. Chapter 5 from 4 is about enzyme. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire enzyme topic. I'm just highlighting what is important in this year is immobilized enzyme. Now, you all must know what's the meaning of immobilized enzyme. Immobilized enzyme are enzyme that you in BM is called enzyme tersekat gerak. Tersekat gerak means you don't let it move. You immobilize it. So you immobilize it maybe on some beads here. Alginate beads is one of them. So the enzyme is actually found on these beads. They are immovable. So one of the benefit of producing using enzyme tersekat gerak is that you can actually get your product without having to separate the enzyme, because the enzyme doesn't flow out together with the product. Okay, so for example here, production of lactose-free milk, you know, certain people cannot take milk because they are lactose intolerance. So here, the milk that contain lactose is poured into this enzyme. So when as the milk flow through, the immobilized lactase will hydrolyze glucose and galactose in the meal. Okay, hydrolyze lactose into glucose and galactose, right? So that means the milk that flow out now do not have lactose. So the individual who drink this milk will not have stomach upset, right? So this is one example. Okay, the next thing is producing clear juices, especially fruit juices. Again, you are also using immobilized enzyme. The enzyme are immobilized on the beets. Here you use two enzymes, pectinase and cellulase. So pectinase and cellulase, you see, the cell are normally held together by the protein pectin. Okay, the protein pectin will be hydrolyzed by the pectinase. So the cell then become terasing. They become, because you already use pectinase to hydrolyze pectin. So once the cell are already in single cell like this, then you use the cellulase to break down the cellulose of the cell wall. So that will release out a lot of juices inside the cytoplasm. So you can be able to obtain clearer, more juice compared to if you were to prepare it at home. Okay. So the advantage of using immobilized enzyme is that you actually do not have to separate the product from the enzyme. Secondly, you can reuse the enzyme, and the enzyme is more resistant to change, factors that changes it. Contohnya, the pH, temperature, they're more resistant to all the factors that causes a change on their reactivity. Okay. Okay, so these are some example of a question. Like for example, how is teknologi imobilisasi enzim membantu dalam industri pengetinan ikan? Okay, so pengetinan ikan we use protease. Protease enzyme is used for fish. So the protease enzyme will combine with the inert insoluble material. This insoluble material is the material we use to immobilize the enzyme. Okay, or the, like for example, just now the beads here is the inert insoluble material. So this will make the enzyme resistant to change in the temperature, and that the enzyme will remain in the same position throughout the reaction. And then after that, we can remove the fish skin, right? Okay, so that is for chapter 5 from 4. Now moving on, we are looking at chapter 11 and 12 for form 4. 11 and 12, right? Okay. Now, actually, sorry, 11 and 10 first. 11 and 10 first. So for 11 and 10, this year, I feel that this question is very important, which is the response events that occur during an inflammatory response, or gerak balas keradangan. Gerak balas keradangan. So maybe the question is, how does, okay, for example, this is the question here. Okay, you can explain how an inflammatory response occur. Okay, what are the events that trigger it? So from the diagram, you can see here that when you are pierced with a pin, the next thing you see is that your skin will get reddish and become swollen. Now, this chemical that are released during this time is histamine. Now, the histamine is going to cause a lot of changes to that area. So the one thing that it does is it causes the blood capillary surrounding the infected site, kawasan yang dijangkiti itu, the blood capillary begin to expand and become more permeable. That will cause more phagocytic cell. Okay, phagocytic cell are the phagocyte here to move into the infected area here, because the blood capillary has become more permeable, right? More permeable. So that means more fluid, more phagocytic cell has moved into the injured site. that which is why this area is very swollen and reddish, right? So the phagocytes which accumulate at this site will carry out phagocytosis. And then the next thing that happen is clotting mechanism will occur to seal the wound here. Okay, to seal the wound here. Yeah. So this is called an inflammatory response. So related to this is actually chapter 10, which is blood clotting mechanism, which I hope you all by now should know the sequence of event that occur during blood clotting mechanism. All right, so I won't go through this one. I hope you already remember how prothrombin change to thrombin, fibrinogen change to fibrin, and then finally you get the fibrin covering the part that is injured and trapping the red blood cell from escaping. So this part here I won't explain. Okay, let's look at the sample answer for inflammatory response. So the damaged tissue yang rosak membebaskan histamine. So that will cause the immune system to the histamine will be stimulated to produce an inflammatory response. So the histamine will cause the blood capillary to expand more. So once the blood capillary or the capillary darah mengembang, that means more blood, lebih aliran darah to the infected site. Okay, and then the histamine will meningkatkan the permeability of the blood capillary to phagocyte. That will allow more phagocyte to come in, more clotting factor to accumulate there. Okay, so the clotting factor is the one that cetuskan the mekanisme pembekuan darah, while the phagocyte will carry out the phagocytosis. Okay, so the whole event up to phagocytosis and clotting mechanism, all these produces an inflammatory response. Okay, all right, pause for a while. Is there any question? Okay, if no, then we'll move on. Okay, next is chapter 14. Now, chapter 14 is one chapter that I would say you all should study cover to cover. For this entire chapter, I don't have time to go through every aspect, but you all should look at chapter 14, you know, starting from the vertebral column, the difference between the three types of vertebra, like thoracic, lumbar, and cervical. You must know the difference, yeah, and the position at the vertebral column. Okay, so I'm going to show you one example of a question here. So for chapter 14, you all need to read everything. Okay, let's look at this arm movement or muscle involved. So this is actually related to the chapter 2, which I mentioned just now, because this is skeletal muscle. Okay, so here they asked to name tissue P and Q, which I think you already know. Tissue P is tendon because it attaches muscle to the bone. Tissue Q is ligament because it join bone to bone. All right, so there's one thing which I want to highlight here is this. Now make sure your drawing, if in case you are asked to draw. Now this is the bending of the forearm, right? So your tendon here, okay, must be attached here to the scapula, okay, and the clavicle here. So here also, you see here at the back, here is the scapula, here's the clavicle. And then when it's bending of the forearm, right, you must make sure your muscle you draw for bicep. This is bicep, right? X is biceps. It has to be fat, easier to remember, yeah. And here on the other side, the tricep must be thinner and longer. Okay, so and then your tendon here must be attached correctly. Okay, this is radius, the bottom is ulna. So make sure the bicep is attached to radius. Okay, radius is on top, R is on top, and then bottom is ulna. Okay, so the tendon here must be attached to radius, and the tendon here for tricep must be attached to ulna, the lower bone. Okay, so your position, your drawing, must know the drawing, how to draw the muscle, where is it attached. Okay, next is, okay, if then they will give you situation like if P is torn because of an accident, what problem will the patient face, right? So what problem? Okay, so P is what is P? If P is torn, P is tendon, right? So the tissue bicep will not be attached anymore to the radius. That means bicep tidak lagi terlekat pada radius. So the pulling force, okay, could not be transmitted to the radius. Now you must remember that every time the muscle contract, apabila otot mengecut, akan menghasilkan satu daya tarikan, right? Then it will be transmitted to the tulang, to the radius, through the tendon. Okay, so melalui tendon. All right, the pulling force is transmitted to the bone through the tendon. Okay, so if the tissue X is no longer attached, then of course you can't bend your arm lah. At the end of the day, your arm cannot be bent, right? Okay, the other thing is you must know that the characteristic of tendon, both tendon and ligament, the similarity is that both are strong. But one is not elastic, the other one is elastic. So ligament is elastic. Ligament, through prolonged training, can be even more elastic like a gymnast. Okay, next. Okay, the next thing is you must know how to explain the bending of forearm. The bending of forearm, which involve the muscle X, Y, tissue P, bone Z. Okay, all this you must be able to explain. Usually is 3 marks. Okay, so make sure you say bicep contract. Since it's antagonistic muscle, you must also say tricep relax. Okay, next is predict what will happen if the tendon in the athlete was torn. Okay, so either because it's knee, right? So the quadricep femoris, which is at your thigh, okay, quadricep femoris will not be connected anymore to the knee bone. So you'll feel severe pain, the leg cannot be straightened. Okay, knee become swollen, bengkak, and not able to move, right? Okay, so far I don't see any question coming forth, so I will continue. Okay, no question, you can type in the chat box, yeah? Okay, let's look at this. If they were to ask you, how do you explain the position X to position Y? So position X is bending, right? Bending of the knee, right? So this is R is bicep femoris, S is quadricep. Okay, bicep femoris and S is quadricep femoris. So bicep femoris is exactly like your bicep in your arm. So it has to contract in order to pull this calf muscle here, your lower part of your leg up. So to straighten, then of course the calf, the bicep femoris has to relax, right? And then the quadricep muscle have to contract. So every time when you are asked to explain any kind of movement that involve muscle, always say muscle act antagonistically. So by stating that, you already get 1 mark. Okay. Now, then always remember, whenever you explain about muscle, you must always say who contract, who relax, right? So here, quadriceps femoris is here. This is S is quadriceps femoris. R is bicep femoris. Okay, so the quadriceps femoris will contract. Okay, you see the sequence of answering is the same. So quadriceps, this is in standing position, contract. Now, see, earlier I said it will always produce a pulling force, menghasilkan daya tarikan. So the same thing, bila otot femoris mengecut, dia akan menghasilkan satu daya tarikan ke tulang tibia. So it's always the pulling force to the bone, right? Tibia is the bone that is right under here. This is tibia, the bone here. This is tibia, yeah. All right, and then after that, you must stay. The pulling force go through what? Transmit by who? By the tendon, right? Then at the same time, you must always say that the other muscle relax, right? So that's how the leg becomes straightened. Okay, so that is for okay, any question? No question, yeah?
Cikgu Gan, we have a question.
Yeah.
Rahul was asking, may I know what it is in Malay? The answer.
The Malay, okay,
Ah.
here the Malay is otot bertindak secara berantagonis apabila quadriceps femoris mengecut, ia menghasilkan satu daya tarikan ke tulang tibia yang melalui tendon, okay. Daya tarikan, okay, ke tibia melalui tendon. Pada masa yang sama, otot bicep femoris, same, just that spelling is different, as akan mengendor, okay, akan mengendor dan ini menghasilkan menyebabkan kaki luruskan, kaki diluruskan. Now the tibialis is actually the marks here. If you see the marks here is only, I think it's only 4 marks. So even if you don't want to talk about tibialis also can, but if you want to talk about tibialis also can. So the tibialis will contract, same like just now the quadriceps femoris. So you bring down your heel, okay? To meet, right? Okay, next. So far, what I mentioned in chapter 14 is what? The bone, the vertebral column, which I didn't show here. Then the bending of the forearm, that's the second part. The third part now here is about joints, sendi yang terdapat pada manusia, ya. So you know, maybe the question will ask you to circle, bulatkan satu contoh sendi yang bebas bergerak. Okay, so you know sendi lesung and sendi ensel, or we call it ball and socket and hinge joint. Okay, X is ball and socket, sendi lesung. Y is hinge joint. You know that these two are called movable joint. They are called movable joint, which allow movement of bones. So the differences is, okay, look at the differences. So ball and socket, lesung allow rotational movement, pergerakan berbentuk putaran, whereas hinge joint allow movement in one plane, and then allowing swing movement in circular motion, and then this is back and forth. Alright, so your kaki can membentangkan ayunan secara membulat, this one ke hadapan, ayunan ke hadapan dan ke belakang. Okay, so the third one is the sendi. Now, the fourth one is always, there will be diseases associated in one of the question. Maybe it can be in any question. For in this case here is, of course, the most relevant one is osteoporosis, scoliosis, and then osteoarthritis. Okay, so untuk osteoporosis, okay, the woman that is bent over, bongkok. So you know already, kalau osteoporosis, memanglah untuk wanita yang berusia. And then this one is for youth, remaja. Usually in remaja, Okay, so the difference between both is osteoporosis adalah disebabkan oleh, okay, I think this one is wrongly, this is suffered from osteoporosis, not scoliosis. Okay, so osteoporosis ialah tulang is berongga, lemah dan mudah retak, brittle, mudah retak. Whereas for scoliosis, the vertebra column, turus vertebra bengkok ke sebelah membentuk S atau bentuk C. Okay, so ni lebih kerap pada wanita yang mengalami putus head, and then this one lebih kerap dalam kalangan remaja yang mencapai akil balik, akil balik. So normally if they give you picture like that with a lot of holes like that, you know already this is osteoporosis, because osteoporosis, the bone are less dense because of less mass, bone mass, so they are more porous, right? So to increase bone mass is, of course, diet is one of it, containing calcium, high calcium, vitamin D, phosphorus, and exercise, of course, will help. Okay, why is it more kerap among women of warga tua is because, another thing is because dah putus head, estrogen tidak ada lagi dirembeskan, so that also causes a decrease in the mass of the bone. Okay, next is osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis juga adalah satu soalan yang agak kerap mungkin keluar sebab dia berkaitan dengan chapter 14. Osteoarthritis ialah wear and tear, is lacking of synovial fluid and also wear and tear, causing the cartilage to become thinner. So the effect is restrict movement. The joint becomes swollen and is restrict movement. Okay. Okay. Okay, next, I see there's no chat yet. Wait.
Teacher, that's a question.
Yeah, correct. Okay, locomotion, I'm coming to it. I told you it's the entire chapter 14. I want to finish the human first. Okay, so I'm coming to animal shortly. Okay, these are some suggestions. How do you maintain a healthy musculoskeletal system? Sistem otot rangka yang sehat. Okay, there are only 4 things. I'm just going to mention the 4 things. The rest is expand the 4 facts. Number 1, good posture. Posture badan yang betul. Alright, so the points under posture badan yang baik is, one of it is you want to prevent suppressing your nerve organ. You want to allow better blood flow. Okay. Number 2 is wear proper attire. Okay, not attire that will inhibit your circulation of your blood. Number 3 is to do warming up exercise for efficient blood circulation, and number 4 is diet. So posture, attire, exercise, diet. These are the 4 facts for helping to maintain a healthy musculoskeletal system. Okay, I'm coming to animal now. Animal actually is very simple. Animal is the same as human because they too have antagonistic muscle. So your job now is to go and find out the name of the antagonistic muscle for all the animals that you have studied, right? For belalang, for ikan and all that. Okay, so this is of course this is bird. Bird also have a pair of antagonistic muscle. So every time one muscle contract, the other muscle must relax. So P here, this is P. P is the major. Major is outside, minor is inside. This is the chest, the muscle okay. So if there's any abnormal condition that shows how does it affect its movement. Okay, so when Q contract is up, P contract is down. So from that, you know already that when pectoralis minor cannot contract and pectoralis major also cannot contract, then of course, whether it's minor or major, both the tendon, can you see the answer is the same? Tendon cannot transmit pulling force to the upper side of the humerus. Sorry, this is humerus. So humerus is the bone. So humerus cannot be lifted upward. Okay, so it's the same way of explaining like you like earlier bending of the forearm, right? So the wing cannot be pulled up. Okay, it's no air pressure to provide up thrust, so the bird cannot fly. Okay, other than that is, of course, other animals here is locomotion in grasshopper as well as earthworm. So both of them also have antagonistic muscle, right? So here, this is one potential question asking you all to give the similarity and the differences between skeletal system in both organism. Okay, so kedua-duanya mempunyai otot rangka. Okay, kedua-duanya boleh bergerak daripada satu tempat ke tempat lain untuk mencari makanan, pasangan ataupun melepaskan diri daripada pemangsa. Kedua-duanya mempunyai sepasang muscle atau otot yang berfungsi secara berantagonis. Okay, so let's look at the differences between grasshopper and earthworm. Now, grasshopper mempunyai rangka luar. Okay, rangka luar. Okay, sorry, wait, just went off for a while. Okay, kemudian cacing mempunyai rangka hidro.
I think teacher have just dropped out. Everyone please wait a moment, yeah. Don't worry, guys. I just called teacher. As like what Irene mentioned, teacher didn't realize. I called her, she was still teaching. Yeah, so I don't know why did she drop out. Yeah, so she's coming in. Don't worry, guys. Everyone please stay. Just a minute. She's just rejoining the session again.
Very good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sharon Chan. I am the Deputy Director for Foundation in Science.
Everyone, just be patient. I think Chikugan is having some difficulty rejoining back via the link. I have provided her with another solution. She's joining in via the student link, and I'm promoting her back into the Zoom. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. Keep calm, everyone. And we will be ending the session just a little bit later lah. Yeah, just to cover back the time. Thank you so much, guys.
Hi everyone. I'm back, but Brian, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Hello. Hi,
The thing
teacher.
is, I have to use my handphone to join.
Okay.
Then only I can join. So I would send now the link to you so that you can present for me.
Can please send to
Okay,
me. Okay.
hold on.
Teacher, your laptop you cannot enter, is it?
Yeah, there's something wrong.
Okay.
Do not know why I
Don't
cannot
worry.
join through the laptop, but
Yeah.
can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Okay, guys. Teacher Cikgu is back. Thank you for your patience, everyone.
Hold on.
Yes. Okay, I got it. Wow.
Okay, do you
This-
get it?
Yes, this file name is interesting. It's called important points.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important.
Okay, you just present.
Okay. All right. I'll present.
Okay, I'm actually using handphone. Guys, students, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So we'll go to that
I think we're done
page
here.
where
Done here.
I think we were at, down some more.
Okay.
A bit more. Thank you, student, for holding up.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, wait. I think we were at the grasshopper and the earthworm.
You're done here.
Okay, slightly further down. Yeah, so one more page, I think.
Ah,
Yeah,
here.
okay. So the grasshopper and the earthworm, yeah. So I've already mentioned down. So we are looking at the differences between grasshopper and earthworm, right? So, okay, next. Next is about fish. Now we're going to look at fish. Now, fish also has a flexible vertebral column. So the vertebral column is like our vertebral column. It has, but the muscle is on the left and on the right. On the left and on the right of the vertebral column. So the muscle, when the muscle on the right contract, the tail flip to the right. When the muscle on the left contract, the tail flip to the left. Okay. All right. So that is how they move, flipping their tail from left to right, alternatingly, secara berselang-seli, until you find that the fish are able to be pushed forward, okay, and swim forward lah. Okay, so, okay. Okay, next is going down is the similarity between human and fish. Okay, human and fish. Now I'm talking about differences and similarity between human and fish. So the human, the type of muscle that we use is bicep and tricep. But for fish, just now I mentioned already, it involved the left and right myotum muscle. Myotum muscle is the name of the muscle found in fish. Okay. Okay, when the bicep muscle contract, the tricep muscle relax. While for fish, when the left myotum muscle contract, the right myotum relax. So it's alternatively, yeah. And then the arm, for us, our arm are bent. For the fish, the tail will whip to the left and to the left because the left muscle contract. Okay. Brian?
Yeah. Yes, teacher.
Hold
Can
on,
you hear me?
hold on. Yeah. You give me one moment, okay?
Okay.
I'm trying to open with another computer also. Hold on, guys. I have to
No
try to
problem.
open another, see whether it is possible or not.
Yeah, use the link I sent you, teacher. Okay.
Okay. So guys, how are student? Are you able to understand so far? Okay, what are they saying? Are
They say
they
yes,
able?
yes. Understood.
Okay,
Yeah.
100% sorry, apology, my 1,000 apology. Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay, so now we move on to chapter 15, yeah? Okay, okay, Brian, I'm trying to
Yeah.
join with another computer now.
Can. No
Okay,
problem. I
can you
saw.
stop sharing? Can you stop sharing?
Sure. I will stop sharing. Yeah. Can you share? Awesome. I can see you now. But teacher, I think you are still muted. Yeah. We can see your screen now, teacher. You're still muted. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, double now.
Yeah. We need to off one of the
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on, yeah.
Can.
Okay,
We were at chapter 15.
chapter
Form 4. Yeah.
chapter 15. Okay, chapter 15, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now we are in chapter 15. I'm only going to look at how a grasshopper grow. Okay, how a grasshopper grow, yeah. Okay, so the grasshopper undergo process called ecdysis. Ecdysis is a process which the grasshopper has to undergo because it has a hard exoskeleton. The exoskeleton prevent it from growing. Okay, so it is limited. It cannot grow because the exoskeleton is very hard, right? In order for it to grow, then uh, the insect has to undergo ecdysis, right? To undergo ecdysis means to change the O1, the O exoskeleton need to be removed. Okay. Give me 1 minute, yeah. Okay, so first of all, the exoskeleton a new exoskeleton will be formed at the lower part of the old exoskeleton. Then the new exoskeleton, okay, sorry, okay, the new exoskeleton that is formed, is still soft, right? Hold on, give me 1 minute, yeah.
Can teacher, no worries, no worries. Okay, we're all here. We're all here. Apologies, guys. Bit of technical issue. We'll get all of this sorted out. I think teacher is using another laptop right now, which is why she needed a bit of time. Okay, it's okay. Yeah. So while we are waiting for teacher, can you share me more info about IMU? So Erin is asking about this. So IMU is located in Bukit Jalil. Yeah, I think most of people know IMU is because of they train doctors, medicine. In fact, they offer a lot of type of health science programs. Yeah, from doctor, medicine, dentistry, pharmacy to nutrition. And Cikgu is back. Cikgu, you're muted. Can you kindly turn on your sound? Thank you. You're still muted, teacher. You're still muted. We can't hear you. Hi, teacher. Teacher, you're muted.
Okay, sorry. Okay, can you hear me now? So sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so they will expand their body, then only they will grow to the maximum size, yeah? So if you look at the graph here, now the graph here where they show ecdysis here, okay? Ecdysis here, you point at the bottom of this is a staircase like, right? The growth is like staircase, so you point at the bottom here. That's where the ecdysis first start, bermula. So there's a sharp increase in the length. That's the time they undergo ecdysis. That's the time they take in air and then expand their body and break the old exoskeleton and come out with a new exoskeleton. Okay, so the horizontal line is the time where they are not growing, right? That is called insta or the neem stage, right? So you need to know this one. This is the comparison between growth curve of a rat and a growth curve of a grasshopper. So if you look at rat shows a sigmoid growth curve. So the comparison between both. Now, chapter 15 is a lot. I'm just zooming in at the last chapter, which is the growth chapter, yeah. So the growth curve of a rat is a sigmoid growth curve ataupun lingkungan pertumbuhan sigmoid. Manakala bagi grasshopper is a series of staircase. Okay, it looks like a berbentuk tangga. The growth curve is gradual. This is intermittent. For grasshopper, is intermittent. That means it start, stop, right? And then the growth curve of a rat, you can see here, actually is divided into 6 phases, while for a grasshopper is 5 instar phases and 1 adult phase, yeah? And then carry out by animal that's endo, this is exo, and the growth rate is different at each phase. Whilst this ecdysis, the growth rate is rapid during ecdysis. Okay, moving on to chapter 2. Now I'm jumping to form 5, yeah? Okay, for this year, I feel chapter 2 is important. Chapter 2 and 4 of form 5. Okay, so for chapter 2, the first thing is about xylem adaptation, yeah. So xylem has, you need to know the characteristic of xylem. Xylem is a dead cell. Xylem have no cytoplasm that result in a hollow tube. This hollow tube allow flow of water continuously secara berterusan daripada akar ke daun, right? So that is the first thing you must know. That is fact and explanation. Now, the second thing is the dinding. The xylem wall has uneven lignin thickening. Now, this lignin thickening enforces memberi kekuatan mechanical kepada xylem. It gives it mechanical strength so that when the water is being pulled up during transpirational pull, it does not collapse under that high pressure, right? Dia tidak akan run up, dia tidak akan run up, right? Okay, next is okay. Next, we want to look at similarities between the process that occur through the leaf, right? So the similarities here is about guttation and transpiration. So we're going to look at, this is chapter 2, chapter 4, guttation and transpiration. Make sure you all know what is the difference between guttation and transpiration. In terms of the amount of water vapor that is being released, here water is released as water vapor. Here is water is released in the form of water droplet. And then here water is released through the stoma. This is through the vein, through the special structure, hydatode. It's called hydatode. So make sure you all know the differences between guttation and transpiration. Okay, next talk is about light dependent and light independent. You need to know chapter 2 and 4 very well. Okay, so they may give you a picture of a chloroplast and then they label stroma and grana, and then they ask you what is the difference between the reaction that takes place dalam grana dan stroma. So first of all, you need to know proses light dependent atau tindak balas bersandarkan cahaya. You need to know very well the whole process as well as light independent reaction. Then only you can give the similarities and differences between both of them. Okay. So remember, I just want to highlight two things here. Here involve photolysis of water. The third point here involve photolysis of water. Make sure you don't write does not involve photolysis of water under light independent. Melibatkan penurunan karbon dioksida ya. So ini ialah proses. Fotolisis air ialah satu proses. Yang ini pun satu proses. Okay. Kemudian kita lihat kepada susunan daun. This year susunan daun, adaptasi daun untuk proses photosynthesis is important. So again is linked to photosynthesis ya. So here perbezaan, compare the difference between palisade, mesophyll and spongy. Right, palisade in terms of arrangement is closely and vertically arranged. That means disusun secara rapat dan secara menegak. So it's closely packed, whereas spongy is loosely arranged, disusun secara longgar, where there are a lot of air spaces between them. Banyak ruang udara, okay? So here another thing is, the first thing is about arrangement. You look at the third point is about shape. The shape of palisade, mesophyll, and the spongy. So for palisade is rectangular shape, okay, berbentuk segi empat. The other one is oval and irregular shape. All right. So of course, palisade contain more chloroplast. The other one contain less chloroplast. Okay, moving on. We are going now to chapter 9.5. Now, 8, 9, 10 is combined. It can be combined in one question. Now 8, 9, 10 here, you have the one of the most important is mangrove trees. How mangrove trees are adapted to live in a high salinity area, tempat di mana kandungan garam adalah sangat tinggi. So the problem faced by mangrove swamp plant, mangrove trees, okay? So how they overcome it, like for example, they have a lot of salt, right? How do they eliminate their excess salt? And then the other thing is, how do they adapt to being able to grow? Their seedling are able to grow despite being inundated by water. So they have this viviparous, biji benih viviparity yang bercambah when they are still attached to the parent plant. so that they can grow radicals, grow leaves. So the minute they are mature, they just drop down and they just stick into the muddy ground. So they will not be washed away by the wind. Okay, so first is in terms of problem faced by mangrove trees and the ways to overcome them, how the plant adapt to the harsh environment. Yeah. Now the second one is this colonization and succession. You need to know this because this is like a synthesis question. First, recognize the type of root system found in this plant. So you have the name is of course important, the name of the mangrove trees. Then make sure you know the type of roots, jenis akar, right? Jenis akar menjalar. This one is akar jangkang, akar banir, all right? The types of roots. And then know their position, the zonation, where are they found? Based on this, you can see for yourself, where are they found? You must be able to know, to tell. And then being able to tell what happened in 30 years' time, will this remain the same or would it go out, menjulur keluar ke pantai? And what happened? What happened is when the pantai shift in front, then you know that succession and colonization has occurred in the mangrove swamp. So how do you explain this whole process? If you can remember the name of the plant and the types of roots, you are halfway there already. So the next thing is to explain how the each roots were trapped, okay? Merakap dan mengumpul sediment. So there's a process of sedimentation in between each plant that causes the soil to become more compact and firm. Setiap kali one type of plant will make the soil to become more padat, more compact, more tinggi, lebih tinggi. Maka dia tidak lagi dibanjiri oleh air laut. So it become less suitable for itself, but more suitable for the successor species. So the successor species, you know already that Rhizophora will ganti the Sonaratia and the Avicennia, and then the Bruguera will replace the Rhizophora. So you already know the sequence, yeah? So every time you say that the land become higher and drier, lebih tinggi, lebih kering, tidak sesuai untuk spesies yang menduduki tempat itu, tetapi lebih sesuai untuk spesies pengganti. Okay, so until you say it reaches a climax community, right? Next stop is on the importance. Now, I cannot overemphasize this, the importance of mangrove swamp. Please read up this one. You can classify them according to different main points: protection zone, improve quality and clarity of water. Of course, these are all the points here. Carbon sink, feeding ground, breeding site for all kinds of animal, forestry resources, okay, durable, heat-resistant wood, and finally food and medicine. So the question can be like, for example, they show you a place where the mangrove is was a full mangrove trees growing, and then after that suddenly clear up for industrialization or maybe to build new building houses and all that. So they will ask you what will happen? What will happen when the mangrove trees are all removed from that area? What are the effects? Okay, if you don't maintain the mangrove swamp, then of course the answer will be negative to what I've stated here. All right, so 3 points under chapter 9. I'm going down to chapter 10 now. Chapter 10, Form 5 is also high chance of coming out because this can come out in chapter question 11, which is soalan wajib. Terutamanya pada masa sekarang, isu security makanan is very, very hot, right? So security makanan is actually part of the topic under bio. Under bio, you have 4 aspects that you must remember. Okay, AAUS, all right? AAUS, right? AAUS is availability of food, okay? What is the meaning of security makanan, right? Ketersediaan makanan, that means the food is always available. Go out, you can get the food. Accessibility means everybody can get access to the food easily, whether you're living in kampung or bandar, right? That is utilization. How are you using cooking the food, preparing the food? Are you preparing in a way that the food you obtain 100% nutrient from the food that you are preparing and processing? Okay, so that is penggunaan makanan. Dan the last one is food stability. Food stability means food sentiasa ada. Tak kisah if there is a war happening somewhere, or sudden there's a climate change, or suddenly there's less yield, but yet in our country we have sufficient food for everyone. So that is the meaning of food stability. So maybe it will not be a four explanation. They may just ask you to give two aspects of the meaning of food security. But if you don't know any of these four aspects, how are you going to even give two, right? So you need to know all four. Okay, then they will either ask you, number one, what's the government efforts in making sure food security is there? Okay, how do you make sure Malaysia has a high index of food security? Or it can be practical ways as students to ensure in your own small little part to ensure food security. Right. So one of the things that we can do or the government can do is to do vertical planting. This is only one example. Vertical planting means you plant vertically. That will save space. You don't have to utilize so much of land for cultivation of plants. So you can overcome food crisis, and vertical planting also save water. You use less chemical. You use maybe hydroponic method. So you can control all the irrigation. The plants are free from pests. Okay, you can get faster crop cycle. So this is one method you can uh, apply to overcome or to ensure food security, vertical planting. Now, other than that, as a student, you can do the same thing in your little house, apartment, or wherever. You can do hydroponic, aeroponic. You can utilize those food waste and turn it into foliar fertilizer to use it on your plant. Okay, and then you find creative ways to maximize the food that you are using, like you don't throw away, you eat moderately, you turn the food into another food type of food if there is excess of food. So these are little ways you can do. The way you cook is also one method of making sure food security. Okay, what I'm more interested in is because chapter 10 has to do with climatic change. So we are going to look at how climate change affect food security. This is more relevant to your chapter 10 because in chapter 10 you have climate change due to global warming, due to greenhouse effect. So how would that affect food security? Now, if you look at global warming, you're not going to talk about glacier melting lah and all that. You're going to be focused on the effects of climatic change that will cause food insecurity. So number one ialah kemarau. Kemarau berpanjangan, banjir berpanjangan, definitely is going to cause low crop yield. Low crop yield or hasil pertanian yang berkurang, that means food insecurity already. So the effect of climatic change is a lot. So, and then of course, climate change also affect the aquatic life in the sea, in the river. When the water source become hotter, it will encourage more algae growth, right? So it will affect the food chain and food web that at the end it also affect our food source, right? So climate change on food security, yeah. This is question 11, right? Question 11. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a while to see if there's any question. Are you all able to hear me well, Brian? How?
Yes,
Everything
very
okay now?
clear. Very clear, teacher. Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
clear?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, wait, let me, is there anything?
Uh, a few. Maybe we can address one by one under the Q&A.
Under the
Uh,
Q&A. Okay,
yeah.
sorry, I was looking at the chat.
Chat also got a Q&A. Can we anonymous
Can
ask?
we, okay,
Yeah. Can we say that
climate change forces animal to migrate, which should disrupt ecosystem? Yes, 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 can. Can, because once there's a migration, it always affect food chain. And when food chain is disrupted, we are part of the food chain, right? So we can be a secondary consumer, we can be the tertiary. So it does affect us, yes. What else? Yeah,
uh,
the PDF you all can get. Yes, you can get the PDF.
uh teacher, someone asked about marking scheme. Is there any latest changes or updates in SPM marking scheme requirements that we know? Yeah.
No change as far as I know. The usual one lah, like I mentioned earlier about not writing too long sentences, wrong cancel, right? There's no penalty. Most of the time, we don't penalize the student. Like let's say you mention, okay, let's say I give you an example. You mention a hormone wrong, ADH. Instead of ADH, you will say thyroxine, let's say lah, let's say. And then, but your explanation about ADH is all correct, and the question is actually about reabsorption of water. But it's just that you mentioned the wrong hormone at the beginning, and then you repeat the same wrong hormone throughout. We only penalize once. We don't penalize the whole thing and mark it as wrong. So yeah, so and then there is no we don't penalize student lah. Basically, it's always to help student. There's no mark change in the marking scheme as far as I know lah. Okay. Any more question? Do campaign. Campaign. The only thing, don't try to don't make bio into bahasa Melayu karangan lah. You can mention menu rahmah. There's one word, that's it. But don't turn it into a karangan. Because bio is not BM karangan. Bio is facts, based on facts. But you can use, I believe, if I'm wrong, then you tell me I'm wrong. You can use bio facts in karangan BM, right? Correct or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Think
So will the wrong cancel the right answer? Yes, it will. That is why I ask you not to write your answer too long. Make it short and simple, right? Okay. So this one, I leave it to you because I'm running short of time. So this one about how do you overcome the problem of extinction? This one you read out about conservation, preservation, and restoration. Now, the only thing I want to just give a quick highlight, conservation is conserving what is damaged. You are trying to restore, repair back, okay, either by situ or in situ. Okay, so ex situ means you bring out the animal or you bring out the plant. In situ is you conserve it where it is, right? Then preservation is like, preservation is maintaining the place. You don't want it to be managed, to be damaged. So you have forest reserve, you have special area that you already gazetted that no one can go in and destroy the forest there. So that is preservation and restoration. Okay, so I'm going to link a bit here. Here, restoration is trying to restore a damaged ecosystem, maybe in a smaller scale, like what you can do to restore back a damaged mangrove swamp just now. All right, the mangrove swamp in your area, what is your active participation in restoring a damaged ecosystem. So the word is restoration or pemulihan. So here you can give example of active participation. Here means you actively join community in planting the saplings of the mangrove trees. That is something you can do. So something, a small area you're trying to restore, your own community where you're living, you try to restore back that damaged ecosystem. Okay? Okay, so that is for restoration. Okay, now I'm moving on to the last collection of question, which is 11, 12, 13, which I can guarantee you will definitely come out 11, 12, 13, right? So 11, 12, 13, is about inheritance, about variation, and about genetic technology. Definitely going to come out one, if not two questions from this part. So we're looking at chapter 12 here. Now, you have to know well, the different diseases that affect the sex chromosome. Okay, you can see here, this person has only one X chromosome, while this person has three sex chromosome, X, X, Y, and then this one is XO. So you must be able to differentiate, compare the genetic disease for both these individuals. Now, once it involves sex chromosome increase and decrease in number, then you know it's chromosomal number. The change, the mutation is chromosomal mutation. So it causes a change in chromosomal number, right? Doesn't matter whether it's Klinefelter, Jacob syndrome, Turner syndrome, Down syndrome, what else? The XXX, whatever. It has to be chromosomal mutation and is due to non-disjunction where the spindle fiber fail to form, so the homologous chromosome fail to separate during anaphase 1. Must mention anaphase 1. So here, both occur during gamete and both has no development of secondary sex characteristic. So this is XXY is Klinefelter syndrome. This is Turner syndrome. So let's look at the differences. Now there's a difference is in terms of the missing X here. This one is the extra X, right? And then the gender, okay, the gender and the number of chromosome. So in other words, if you are asked to compare any other diseases that is related to sex chromosome, use this outline. Use this outline. What is missing? What's the gender? What's the number of chromosome? Okay, then from there you know already that the difference is quite easy to write. Okay, so the number of chromosome here, you can see this is 45, this is 47, right? Okay, do the same for other diseases. Do some homework. Your bio is not so soon. You got plenty of time to prepare a little bit of the comparison between all these genetic disease. I'm giving you the sample here. You can try to do more. Okay, plan out your answer. Like this one is what? This is sickle cell anemia because it's crescent shape. This is a guy, Klinefelter again. They already give you the characteristic. Okay, so both involve chromosome defect or genetic disease caused by mutation, but they are not chromosomal mutation. Both are not. Only Klinefelter is, this one is gene mutation. Okay, because it involves a change in the sequence of the nucleotide. The nucleotide has mutated, is a recessive allele. So this is chromosomal. Okay, so first, I'm telling you now what is the aspect of differences. So during exam, you don't have to remember and try to memorize all this content here. It's very difficult. You remember the aspect of differences. So first, you say what's the type first. Second is the number. Remember the word number. That will trigger you to tell or to write the differences in terms of number, bilangan kromosom yang berbeza. Okay, and then the third one is caused by what? Punca. Okay, cause or punca. Okay. Okay, sickle cell anemia is substitution. It's a gene mutation, but you see the word S, right? You remember S is associated with sickle cell anemia, SS. And then changes in the autosome. This is in the number of sex chromosome. Okay, which chromosome is involved? Which chromosome? Is it a sex chromosome? Is it an autosome? And then this is gender. Okay, this is gender. Apakah jantina of the person? So if you remember this aspect, you can tell the difference, right? And do the same for all other diseases. Okay. With this, I want to bring to you the application under genetic technology. Now we are in chapter 13. This is called gene therapy. Now, two methods that you need to remember is gene therapy and another one is DNA profiling. Now, they can give you diagram like this where you have to cerita because the gambar already got the keyword for you to use. But if you look at the keyword, you may not know what's happening. So at least you must have some idea. Now, this is called like a synthesis question where you have to link up all the story that you see in the character in the diagram and talk about one thing, which is gene therapy. Okay, so what is gene therapy? Now, gene therapy can be used to treat sickle cell anemia is one example. Sickle cell anemia is one disease that you can apply gene therapy. So if let's say the question give you some unknown kind of disease that you have never heard before, no worries, still apply the same method. So first identify first the name of the therapy or the treatment for sickle cell anemia is called gene therapy. So you have to prepare a non-virulent virus here. Non-virulent here means it does not cause infection, is not dangerous. So prepare the non-virulent virus here. Can you see here? They use here non-virulent virus. Okay. And then you have to find the gene. Now, the gene of this particular gene doesn't matter, is already mutated maybe. So you need to find a normal gene to insert it into the non-virulent virus. Okay, so this is a non-virulent virus. The gene is inserted into the non-virulent virus. And then the gene is carried by the non-virulent virus, which act as a vector. So that means this vector here will carry the normal gene into the cell of the one that has an abnormal gene. So when this cell here is abnormal, it's going to produce an abnormal amino acid and abnormal protein. So we are trying to correct this problem during fetal stage by introducing a vector to carry in the normal gene, right? So when the normal gene is being carried in by injection, you inject in the non-virulent virus that act as a vector that carries in the normal gene, then it will replace the defective gene. It will replace the abnormal or defective gene. So soon the cell is able to produce a normal protein. So this is called gene therapy. Okay, so if you see this picture, don't fear. At least you have to have some idea how it's been done so that you can use the words given in the diagram to describe the process. So this is in question 11. This is one possible question in question 11. The other one is DNA profiling or DNA fingerprinting. The whole process also you have to have some idea. If you don't have idea, then you don't know how to apply this technology in helping to solve some criminal cases, right? So normally this is applied where you take the sample collect from crime scene. Maybe it can be the blood sample, it can be the hair sample. So you collect it from the crime scene and then you extract out the DNA from the blood sample, okay? Extract out the DNA. Then in gene technology, you always use restriction enzyme to cut the DNA molecule. You cannot be using the entire length of the DNA. You need to cut it into fragments of different sizes. Okay, this is very important, different sizes. After that, you place it on the gel electrophoresis. This DNA, different sizes, they are going to separate, all right, according to their size into bands. So they will become band. And then to be able to see the band, you have to transfer it to a nylon membrane, which then apply radioactive probe to make it seen, all right, so that you can see the DNA sequence on the membrane. And then lastly, you develop the X-ray film. You can see the band that is found on this DNA fingerprinting. Okay, so here is the method. Skin sample, blood sample obtained from an investigation scene. After that, you extract out the DNA, cut it with restriction enzyme into different sizes. Then what do? You separate it, asingkan dia, pisahkan dia using gel electrophoresis, and then pindahkan ke membrane nylon, and then add the probe radioactive until you can see later using a film X-ray, you can see the band. So the band that is found on this, what you have processed, then you do the same for the suspect. The suspect, you may have caught, the police may have caught a suspect, and you run the same DNA profiling. Okay, you collect blood sample from the suspect, and the same thing will happen. The suspect DNA will also show some band. Then what you do is compare these two. Do they match? If they match, if the band, the row in which the band appear, barisan-barisan, garis-garis yang wujud, the jalur-jalur yang terbentuk, if they berpadanan, then that suspect is maybe the penjenayah lah. Okay, all right. So that's how you identify, right? So that is the two possible questions. Now, related to this is also, I'm sure you all heard of stem cell. You always heard of stem cell. Stem cell is actually can be used for what? Stem cell can be used to treat thalassemia. Thalassemia is quite similar. Okay, thala is THA. Thalassemia is quite similar to sickle cell anemia, except that thalassemia, the red blood cell is smaller. But sickle cell just now bulat dia berbentuk sabit. Okay, so this method here, umbilical cord stem or from the mother sum-sum tulang can be used because the stem cell is actually undifferentiated. So the question say, how is umbilical cord stem can be suitable in the production of different type of tissue? So for example, the child has some problem maybe with this red blood cell here, thalassemia. You can use this method because the umbilical cord stem are able to carry out cell division, cell differentiation to produce specialized tissue that are genetically identical to carry out specific function. That means stem cells are undifferentiated cells that has the potential to divide to form specialized cell, which then become tissue. Okay, so that's the meaning of stem cell therapy. Stem cell therapy can also be applied to treat osteoarthritis. Okay, so now I pause for a while for a question. Is this acceptable to write a? Yes, it is. You can write short form NADPH, ATP, ADH. You can write short form for hormone ADH. What else? FSH, LH, all can. Okay. Earlier we used ATP instead of energy, but if you accidentally use energy, will the mark still be given? Okay. Can I would say depends on the uh should be able to lah. So sometime try not to use the word energy lah. Use the word ATP. Okay, simple is remember to use ATP, yeah. Okay, next is can sickle cell anemia and Klinefelter system both be inherited? Okay, dua-dua ni can be inherited. Okay, it's very hard to say Klinefelter syndrome may not even get married, so cannot answer that question, yeah. Sickle cell anemia is a recessive allele. So kalau in chapter 11 you have the recessive allele, the father and mother both carry the recessive allele, then of course the child may stand a high possibility of inheriting both recessive allele. Okay. What chapter should we focus more? My dear anonymous attendee, what I've been going through is what you are focusing on. If I don't choose the question, then how to go through the 27 chapters in 2 hours, right? So what I'm highlighting is hopefully what you should be focusing on, but that doesn't mean you ignore all other chapters which I did not focus today, yeah. Okey, kenapa kita perlu menyebut tentang memotong fragmen DNA kepada potongan yang berbeza? Because DNA itu sangat panjang. You tak boleh letak pada fragmen electrophoresis, letak sepanjang-panjangnya di sini. So you have to cut it into smaller fragment pieces so that you can put into the nylon ring. Okay.
Here we have one more
Uh,
question.
Okay, nitrogen cycle. Yeah, I did not mention nitrogen cycle. So it's good you all study nitrogen cycle because nitrogen cycle is also a synthesis type question, but it may link to what's the effect if there is no decomposition. Okay, it may not be the total nitrogen cycle. It may be just portion of the nitrogen cycle. It can even be in structure. Okay, 8, 9, 10. I already told you 8, 9, 10, emphasis on chapter 9. Now, actually forgot to mention something. Beside the mangrove swamp in chapter 9, don't forget the food chain. Food chain. So, mungkin dia akan bagi you 5 animals in a diagram or whatever. They ask you to bina satu rantai makanan. Build a food chain based on the diagram that consists of various animal. Okay, so food chain is so easy. Make sure the arrow is correct. Then after that, bina a pyramid of number. Pyramid number. Make sure one organism in each trophic level. Let's say paddy. Okay, paddy here, the first trophic level. Second level, let's say got grasshopper and rat. In the second trophic level, which are primary consumer, but you don't write both rat and grasshopper in one trophic level of the pyramid or number. You choose only one. Pyramid or number represent only one food chain. So you choose either the rat or the grasshopper. Don't write two. Okay. And then, so food chain, pyramid or number, and the third part of the question is how the energy flow from one organism to another, which is how do you flow? How many percent is flow? 10% only, right? Flow aliran tenaga daripada satu pengguna kepada satu lagi pengguna, right? So 90% is loss sebagai haba, sebagai dalam perkumuhan and so on. Okay, so 10%. So you cerita from the part where cahaya matahari, pokok menjalankan fotosintesis and then menghasilkan glucose, right? And then pengguna primer makan pokok, 10% of the energy is transferred into the pengguna primer, 90% loss. So aliran tenaga sehinggalah ke pengguna terakhir. Okay, so that is another set of questions that beside the mangrove swamp. Okay, let's look for 90% is lost. Yes, 10% is passed on, 90% is lost. Okay, no more question, right? Okay, so actually, is there any question you all need to ask? Because I actually gone through everything already. The broad view, I cannot be very specific, but if you have question you want to ask, you can ask me now. Okay. Maybe I tell you the last thing, yeah. The differences between thalassemia and sickle cell anemia, and thalassemia. Okay, remember thalassemia, sickle cell anemia. Thalassemia and sickle cell anemia, ni red blood cell, sel darah merah untuk sickle cell anemia. Ini thalassemia is still biconcave disc shape, tapi kecil, size kecil. Okay. Ini berbentuk sabit or sickle cell. Alright. So because they're small kan, so total surface area pun kecil. So both transport of oxygen is not efficient. Tak efficient. Okay, sebab ini hemoglobin dia jadi abnormal. Sebab dia membentuk crystallize and then stick together. The hemoglobin both are abnormal. This one because small size, so low hemoglobin content. Ini hemoglobin abnormal, lain Okay. So but kedua-duanya less efficient in transporting oxygen. So the person in term of kesan dia kepada individu ialah lemah, weak, pale. Okay, pucat, lemah is the effect of both these disease on the person. Okay. All right. I'm open to question now of any chapters. Any chapters. You have any chapters you want to ask me? Come on. Okay, let's look at the chart. Okay, I will give you the PDF. Yeah. Okay.
There are a few questions on the Q&A, teacher.
Okay, for structure question, can you draw table for differentiation? Okay, Mr. Anonymous, if dia bagi untuk soalan berbentuk struktur, bentuk struktur. Kalau dalam bentuk struktur, normally sekarang, trend sekarang ialah dia akan tulis 1, 2. Okay, macam itu. Beri 2 perbezaan kepada whatever. So dia dah tulis 1, 2. Kalau dia dah tulis 1, 2, then of course you tak boleh buat table lah. Tetapi sekarang juga banyak soalan sudah diberi table siap-siap. So let's say X and Y. Okay, so beri 2 perbezaan untuk X and Y. Table given already in the structure. Now, my advice to you is this. Okay, what is my advice to you? Never put 2 differences in one table. If you see this is how it is, we only mark the first one. Even if the second one is correct, we won't mark. Because one row here, one space here is for one One difference lah, one difference. Okay? So let's say you tulis dua perbezaan, kita terima yang pertama. Kemudian you buat lagi satu kat sini. So we will mark this one lah. So we will take the first one. Okay? Now what happen if this one wrong? Rugi lah. Yang ni betul tadi. Tapi we only look at the first one. So make sure is one perbezaan dalam satu kotak. Dan tolong jangan tambah kotak. Oh, nombor 3. Tambah lagi. Apa yang keluar daripada ruangan yang sudah disediakan tidak akan ditanda. Oh, you won't mark this. Okay? So that is to jawab the soalan just now. And then next, okay, scientific name must be underlined and follow the writing form in SPM. If not, is there any penalized? Okay, scientific name for your tak boleh, kalau typing, kalau dalam bentuk type, kita selalu buat dalam italic kan? Betul. Tapi your tulisan you garis lah, garis secara berasingan. Okay, so what is human? Human is Homo sapien. Garis secara berasingan. Capital H untuk genus, small letter untuk species. Okay, boleh faham? Garis. Okay, terutamanya kalau dia suruh anda tulis nama saintifik. Specifically, the question already asks you to tulis nama saintifik. Then, of course, you have to garis. Okay, next question. Mr. Anonymous, I think I already answered that question, yeah? Okay, so basically, if you look at my layout of my presentation just now, I told you chapter 2 is definitely very important because chapter 2 is the fundamental chapter that linked to all other chapters. Okay, then chapter 3, these are basic questions that you need to know already. So there's no such thing as forecast can come out or not. Because hydrophonic, isotonic, all these are basic that you all need to know. And I cannot say, oh, definitely come out. Cannot, because it's basic questions. It will come out. Okay, maybe you can focus on saline water that is being, you are sick, you have diarrhea, then you go to hospital, then the doctor put you on drip, then they will ask you what is saline lah. Okay, maybe you can study that up. What is inside saline? Saline is air garam, but it's isotonic to your blood plasma. And then chapter 3. Chapter 3 is about chapter 3 pula. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is about maybe you can focus on the differences between DNA and RNA. Like I said, I cannot go through everything with you. So you can focus on differences between DNA and RNA. And how do you draw nucleotide? How do you draw nucleotide? Okay, so make sure your drawing, okay, if you draw nucleotide, make sure you draw a pentose sugar, okay, and then here is the phosphate, 1, 2, 3, your nitrogenous base come out, okay, then 1, 2, 3, another phosphate come out like this, okay, like this. So go and draw, maybe draw 1 or 2 nucleotide, and then bezakan di antara DNA dan RNA. Okay, itu homework untuk anda. Chapter 4 I dah sentuh tadi, immobilize enzyme. Enzyme tersekat gerak. Okay, chapter 6 is mitosis, meiosis. They're probably linked to genetic. So, yeah. Chapter 7 is on respiration. If it's respiration, it's quite simple. It'll be in structure like aerobic, compare aerobic with lactic acid fermentation. Okay. Chapter 8 is on respiration. Respiration are very hard for me to say. I don't know. Okay, well, you all just have to read up. Chapter 9, assimilation. Digestion, assimilation, that part is very important. Chapter 10, I already mentioned mechanism of blood clotting, linked to chapter 11, which is inflammatory response, already explained just now. And then chapter 12, if you ask me, which I didn't present here, will be synapse And then the nervous system, reflex action that involves spinal cord. Okay. The removing of your hand from hot object. Okay, that one is important, right? And then for chapter 12 is also linked to chapter 13 for hormone. So the end part of endocrine system, you know, there is a what? What is found in the end part of endocrine system? You have the different types of hormone, right? And then the effect of, sorry?
Good afternoon.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, teacher. Yeah.
Okay, the hormone, remember the insulin, focus on insulin and glucagon. Okay, insulin and glucagon, because this is linked to regulation of chapter 13. Okay, how insulin and glucagon affect a person after a heavy meal or when they eat too little or too much. Okay, focus on that, yeah. Linked to chapter 13 regulation of sugar in the blood. Okay, and then you have what is the other one? ADH. Okay, all these I got no time to go through. You all read up yourself. Then next is chapter 13, chapter 14, which I've already gone through. Chapter 15, I've also gone through. I focus on the growth. And then Form 5, I focus on chapter 2, 4, and then chapter 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, and then 11, 12, 13, right? So that will give you a rough. Okay. Next question. Teacher, may I ask for chromosomal mutation for the non-disjunction part? Must I mention anaphase 1 or 2, or I can just mention anaphase? You have to mention anaphase 1 or 2. Okay, so if you say homologous chromosome fail to separate, you use the word homologous, so it has to be anaphase 1. If you use sister chromatic, then you say anaphase 2. Okay, so you have to use, it's a long sentence. Homologous chromosome fail to separate during anaphase 1. It's a long sentence. The answer is long. Okay, next question. If I write out the lines, like the structures get not enough. Oh, you mean if the line, not the comparison one, not the comparison one can write out of the line. But if you write out of the line, that means you are writing too much already. That's all I can tell. All right. You can write out of the line. We do mark, but try to write within the line, because when the examiner prepare the question, they know how much you should write lah. But unless you feel there's so much of answers, somehow you can write out the line. Okay. Next, I hope I'm answering your question. If I'm not answering your question, you repost the question, yeah? So if table form, there are 10 marks, we write 6 differences. Marker won't mark the last one. If table, there are 10 marks, we write 6 differences. Marker won't mark the last one. What do you mean marker won't mark the last one? We will mark everything lah. Okay, 10 marks means if there are 10 marks, normally they will allocate 4 marks or 3 marks for similarities, 7 marks for differences. Okay. For monohybrid, for monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, that's the theory means that crossing over occur in sex chromosome only once, twice simultaneously in inheritance. I understand the content, but can't relate to how it applies to meiosis process. Wow, this is too long a question for me to answer within such a short time. You have to read up, because from your question, I can see that you don't even understand fully. I'm not saying you don't understand at all the difference between monohybrid and dihybrid. So from the way you word your question, I can tell you can't differentiate even between mono and di. So you need to go and study up. This is too long a question for me to answer, yeah. So I'm so sorry for that. Okay. Chapter 9 Form 4. I thought I just mentioned. Okay, chapter 9 Form 4 assimilation is a package. The assimilation, before you assimilate, all right, you have digestion first, then only absorption. After absorption is assimilation. That means pencernaan, penyerapan, asimilasi. These three are linked into one question. Contoh, Encik Amin makan ayam goreng. Ayam goreng. So ayam got protein. When you use the word goreng, that means you need oil. So there are two aspects there, two food class there. So you explain about the lipid in the minyak that you use to goreng, and also the protein in the daging ayam. Then you chart the jejak. Where does this protein and lipid get digested? Lipid is in intestine, protein stuck in the stomach. Okay, so you jejak the digestion first. After that, you menjejak absorption. After already digest, you have amino acid, fatty acid, glycerol, right? Where do they go? Fatty acid and glycerol will enter the lymphatic system, yeah? And then amino acid will go through hepatic portal vein, go to liver, right? So from there, you talk about assimilation. What is amino acid used for, and what is lipid and glycerol used for in the cell? Okay, so if you ask me, that is for chapter 9. If we answer both questions in bahagian B, will the examiner take the answer with the highest mark or only the first question answer? Highest mark. Highest mark. We will mark both. We will take the highest mark. Teacher, how to remember function and deficiency for nutrition? Remember only one only sufficient. Like nitrogen, the leaf will will turn yellow, chlorosis. Then P, phosphorus is for, you remember what? ATP come from P is phosphorus, so to synthesize ATP. So you remember one, especially macronutrient. Micronutrient only, so it's not so likely they will ask in structure. Oh my gosh, what hot topics for SPM? I thought I just said that I already answered that a few times. Okay, whether they will repeat, nobody knows, okay? Next is question is jumping. Okay, there's a question that says pregnant woman crave for eating hair and so on. What's the effect? Now, this is Pika. It's actually in the textbook, but it's a small little icon. Is of course a person who eat all non-food like hair, nail, will be malnourished. They can't digest. You will have digestion problem, will have maybe that's stomach pain and so on. So those are the effects. You will not obtain sufficient nutrient. When explaining process in biology, if we get one part of it wrong, will marks be given for the following points? Okay, processes here. For example, okay, facilitated diffusion, Michelle. Facilitated diffusion, there are 4 steps, right? Let's say you are the third step, you didn't say that the carrier protein change shape. Okay, but the first 2 part you correct. You talk about the amino acid or the glucose move to the specific carrier protein. All that we mark independently. Okay, do you understand? Marking independent. It means we will not, oh, the one of the process wrong, everything wrong. No. We will mark like there are 4 processes. One of the process somewhere in the middle is wrong. The first 2 will still give mark. The last one will still give mark. Okay. If teacher, wait, sorry, comparison question in structure need to draw table or not, or just write in sentence. Like I said, now the trend is they already give the table ready. Okay. very rare now they give in line lah. But if they do give in line, you just have to make sure you state one statement in one line. Like for example, light dependent reaction involve photolysis of water, while light independent reaction involve reduction of CO2. Okay, CO2 is reduced by NADPH. So like that, one sentence. Okay. Is that possible that topic can came out before will be repeated? Yeah, there's nothing to stop them from repeating the same question. But that was a trend to me, based on what I think that was a trend before that under KBSM. But now under KSSM, there are many more questions to ask because KSSM is only 2 years in its implementation. Yeah. Okay. In essay, they got asked to write a speech. Do we really need to write in speech format or can the answer like normal? Write a speech. I have never come across bio, they are asked to write a speech. Honestly, never before to write a speech, yeah. Okay, so normally whether it come that way, you just answer normal will do. But I've never come across, okay. If write extra point, it will be marked, right? If enough points are written to get full marks, but one extra point is wrong, will there be full mark? Okay, my advice to you is you can write all the extra points that you know, okay? Write your points, never mind. The teacher know how to mark, and if the mark for that question, the max mark is 3 marks, even if you write 5 sentences and all 5 sentences correct, we only give you max of 3 marks. But the thing is this, I encourage you to write more than just 3 points if you can remember, because the 3 points that you give may not be in a mark scheme. Do you understand? So maybe the last 2 that you wrote in is in a mark scheme. Well, who knows? Maybe the first 3 you write, I don't know what you wrote, something irrelevant, so you don't get marks. But whatever it is, if you write 5 marks and all 5 correct, you won't get 5 marks. We still give you max 3 marks or max 2 marks. Okay? Okay, any more? Any more question? Come on. Any more question?
Actually, no more.
Okay, sometimes
Yeah.
I write more in case just to make it longer. Okay, don't write too many until you fault yourself. You don't write in long and Ali is fat and clever and thin and so many facts you write in one. What if one of the fact cancel out the right that you have written? So don't do that. You have more, put in different sentence. If my answer is logical but not in mark scheme, will I not get marks? Okay, good question. Charlene. All right, Charlene, structure question is fixed. Structure question answer are rather fixed by the set of answer given in a mark scheme. Essay question is more flexible, especially question 11. Question 9 and 10, you can be certain is going to be factual question. Factual question means, for example, explain the pathway of a reflex arc. Okay, removing of your hand from a hot object. Explain the whole process. Now, that kind of question is a fixed answer. Right? There's no such thing as you write logical. It is memang logical already and the answer is very fixed. So question 9 and 10, the answer is fixed, right? It's logical. So we follow mark scheme. However, question 11, sometimes it can be open-ended. Most of the time it's open-ended. And it depends on the mark scheme can be quite a lot, very long, a lot, And if you write within that given mark scheme, and sometimes they give a little bit of liberty to the marker to based on their professional judgment to whether to give or award the mark they will. So write, just write, Shalene, especially question 11, right? Is the topic of menstrual cycle important? All right, if it's menstrual cycle, it is structure, it will be the graph. So go learn your the four hormone, and how the four hormone affect, because it's always about interplay between the four hormone with the formation of oocytes, right? So how one hormone affect the other hormone, and vice versa. So go and learn that. Yeah, just the menstrual cycle.
Teacher, there is a
Yeah.
question in the chat box by Pang Shin. I think she asked, do we need to underline amoeba SP?
Amoeba, you can underline, but you have to underline. It's good to underline, but then you see amoeba as in we say I don't never come across, only one time it ever come out, which is on paramecium actually, and it's 4 marks. So if you have to write about paramecium or amoeba, the most you are writing is 4 sentences. I'm sure you can underline 4 words, right? Okay, so yes, try to underline it, right? Okay, next question is WCR only used in the correct and wrong fact is in the same statement, right? Correct, correct. Not on different statement. Teacher, will I be penalized if I spell phrases wrongly, like spelling wrong, patino, copy? Okay. If it sound like it's still accepted. Like let's say patino copy, you miss out the H, right? But I can still pronounce it as patino copy. I'll give you the mark. Unless your spelling, right? I pronounce it right. It sounds something weird, something out, something so different from the original sound, then you cannot accept. Okay? So even if you miss out one spelling, we still accept. Okay, for plant topics, which one is more popular? Now, I already told you chapter 2 and 4. Chapter 2 and 4, xylem, phloem, differences between xylem and phloem, photosynthesis, transpiration. Okay, these are the more important topic which has not been tested before. Do we need to memorize like scientific name of some species? No need. No need to memorize. Okay. Any more?
Not at the moment, teacher.
Okay. So
We
sorry, I
went.
think
Yeah.
I apologize for at least 20 minutes or so that I missed just now.
It's okay, teacher. I think it's 15 minutes, 1-5. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Yeah.
I think we way exceeded also 10:25, almost 10:30 already. Yeah.
Okay. So
If there are
yeah.
not any more questions, do you got any last words, final words that you have for students?
Okay. My last word is that um, you know, everything you need to study lah. What I'm just giving today is what you should focus on. All right. So if you can prepare a little bit, who knows, it might come out. What if what I say today, you never look at it or never prepare, and then you need to prepare a bit. Otherwise, you cannot score actually. It's quite hard to score. Yeah. Okay. So all the best to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, teacher.
Yeah.
Suddenly there are a few more questions, but I think teacher have answered most questions earlier already. Will the PDF be shared? Yes, it will be shared. I have already put up a group in the chat box. Please join the group because I will be sharing the PDF there later tonight.
Okay,
And
maybe the student can give some feedback about the lesson today.
Ken? Yeah, maybe
So do you all benefit to at least bring some, different to what you all have heard before.
Yes. How about I launch a poll? Is it okay?
Can?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
launch a
yeah.
poll. Yeah.
Yeah, that will help.
So maybe I'll just launch the poll. Launch. Is it launched? Yes. Okay. There are about 60 of you left. Everyone can help us answer the poll. Okay.
Okay, maybe my last advice is this, yeah, is to make sure now that you're in Form 5 and you're going to face your exam, you're no longer in Form 4 or Form 5 where you study individual topic. You have to look from the bird eye view and try to link the topic. Wherever you find this topic is also repeated in this chapter, try to link them up. That's how you study. Okay? All right.
Thank you so much, Cikgu Gan.
Okay, welcome.
Almost 10:30 already. Thank you for your time and on behalf of
Yes.
International Medical University. I thank Cikgu Gan and also thank all of the students who are still here with us today. And we hope all of you really took home a lot and learned from Cikgu Gan today. And I'm going to end tonight's session with a video by International Medical University. It's a video about Omika and Ravina's journey to study medicine in IMU. Okay, enjoy.
Hi, I'm Omika and I'm a first-year medical student in IMU.
Hello everyone, my name is Ravina and I'm a first-year medical student at IMU.
Sri KDU played a crucial role in shaping my leadership skills by providing numerous opportunities for involvement in extracurricular activities and also student organizations. By participating in all of these roles, I developed crucial organizational and communication skills that have been invaluable in my transition for my tertiary education.
I had ample opportunities to participate in events, projects, clubs and societies when I was at Sri KDU. These opportunities has boosted my self-confidence and provided me with valuable knowledge and experiences. This has helped me navigate leadership roles like being head prefect, petro leader and junior troop leader successfully.
I chose IMU FIS for its comprehensive and globally recognized health sciences education. Both IMU FIS and Sri KDU prioritizes student-centered teaching, critical thinking, and also holistic education. And also, I have my sisters and brothers here.
I chose IMU's Foundation in Science due to its proven track record in producing versatile students. This mirrors the personal and professional development I experienced at Sri KDU. Apart from that, IMU's student-centric approach provides extensive academic resources and dedicated lectures.
My most memorable experience will definitely be teaching mathematics to children at a local shelter home. It has improved my communication and teaching skills and also gave me a sense of accomplishment seeing the kids' enthusiasm for learning.
For me, the best experience was the friendships I made. Meeting with friends before practical sessions to grab breakfast and spill some tea, if you will, created memorable moments, and these friendships continue as we pursue our degrees at IMU.
I am happy with my choice of the FIS Pre-U route as it provides a solid foundation for my journey to medical school. It has also helped to enhance my academic knowledge and also critical thinking.
IMU's FIS program made my transition into medical school smooth. The content learned during FIS was a great foundation for more complex medical studies. FIS has been a great stepping stone for me to realize my dream to practice medicine.
I actually chose IMU because it is a well-recognized medical university in Malaysia and it is also globally recognized. IMU also provides simulated patient sessions which allows us to practice our clinical skills early on.
I decided to pursue medicine at IMU as it has an excellent reputation and countless years of experience, providing one of the best healthcare education in Malaysia. My positive experiences, such as dedicated lecturers, holistic teaching and learning methodologies, as well as the outstanding facilities, further bolstered my decision to pursue my undergraduate degree at IMU. They also gave me a scholarship, so that definitely helped.
If you would like to join us in the medical field, I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of practical sessions and extracurricular activities provided in IMU, as they will help you develop as a well-rounded student and as a future healthcare professional.
Making great use of both KDU and IMU's resources and intensive student mentoring will help you grow into a holistic student with distinct skill set, as well as set you forward into your journey.